Welcome to the Give It a Nudge podcast. Thanks for joining us. Each week, you're going to hear stories from founders, VCs, and private equity leaders from across the industry. We hope that these stories are going to give you insights to help you on your journey, and we'd love you to be part of our community. So please hit that subscribe button, and let's get on with the show. Welcome to the show, everyone. Today we have got Belinda Agnew. I'm very excited. We've been trying to get Belinda up from Melbourne to film for a couple of months now, and finally she is here. So she has a fascinating story, a lot of different things going on. I think everyone's going to really enjoy this one. It's going to be a little bit out there. So welcome to the show, Belinda.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
I'm excited.
So let's start with a little intro on you. Why don't you give us a synopsis of what Belinda is right now?
Yeah, I was just saying to Steve earlier, it's so much simpler than what it was originally. So I am a country girl originally, giving it a go.
Yep.
In tech.
Yep.
That's literally my intro.
That's it. That's the intro. That is super simplified.
It's so simple. I think, just to give some in-depth information, I run a company called xenabler, which is a development company. We do really cool things in the tech space of Web 2, Web 3. We're actually working on some really cool projects in Web 3. And yeah, we're about 75 staff at the moment.
Gosh, 75.
Yeah. I think actually it's 80 now, but I think it's 75 all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go right back. A country girl giving it a go in tech. So, country girl, let's start with that. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Cobram.
Okay, where is Cobram? I have no idea where that is.
You're like, oh my God, where is that? It's literally 3-hour drive from Melbourne. 30 people in the town, 3 shops.
When did you leave?
That country.
When did you leave? Because that's real country.
It's real country, yeah. I left when I was, I think maybe 16. 15, 16.
Yeah. And did you move to Melbourne then?
No, I moved to Sydney actually.
Oh, really?
I grew up in Sydney. Yeah,
I
originally
did not know
a Sydney
that.
girl, and I moved to Melbourne 5 years ago.
Okay.
5 years ago, COVID.
Yeah, COVID really messes everything.
I know.
We just lost years. Okay, so you still ride dirt bikes?
I actually want to. I actually talked to my friend. I'm like, we should go to the country and ride dirt bikes.
Should do that. So what seems like the most fun part of growing up in the country? Anyway, so
it is.
Did your parents move to Sydney? Is that why? Or did you just decide to go yourself?
No. So my mum moved. Yeah, you're right. My mum moved to Sydney, and I decided to go with her.
Okay,
and
cool.
Yeah, the rest is history.
And you arrived in Sydney. Sydney's a big change.
Huge.
So what that would have been? I'm just trying to think. Sydney was still sort of really beginning to emerge then as maybe not. Maybe I've lost track of time as well. I think Sydney's really evolved a lot in the last 5-10 years.
It has. It's really city now.
Yeah.
It's very New Yorky vibe. Melbourne's
the
New York. It's more LA vibes in Sydney.
Because of the beach lifestyle, yeah.
Yeah, and the weather.
Okay, and so when you're 16, you're still at school. When you started working, what was that? How did you start work, and how did you end up being that country girl, giving it a go in tech? What happened in that transition time?
I literally did a podcast, I think it was 2 days ago, and that was one of the questions.
Yep.
And I didn't really have an idea of what I was going to do, and I never really had an entrepreneur spirit in me whatsoever.
Interesting.
I was the kid at school that was really shy, played with my hands, I was kind of like an outsider.
Yep.
Bullied a lot in school from my family as well.
You're bullied from your family?
In a way, because my family, I grew up in a really Aussie, Aussie white, blonde, blue-eyed family.
Right.
And I was the only European looking person.
So they berated you for
they
it.
kind
Beautiful.
of not berated, but left me out a little bit. I think. I mean, they'll hate me if I say that. But yeah, so I was really, really shy, and that kind of affected my confidence and everything like that.
Yep, would do.
And I grew up in a single household with my mum, so I don't know my father. So from that, I had to survive. Like really, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that I had to make money and I had to get out there and survive and make it on my own. So I started in sales, like every other person.
Yeah.
I'm sure you did the same.
I did exactly. I don't have an education either, and I started in sales. Yeah, that's exactly right.
I started door knocking, selling bloody Kirby vacuum cleaners.
I sold. Let's just say I sold kitchen knives for an American company, which I actually really liked. But then I sold fake perfumes. Let's not talk about the fake, but they weren't the real ones. But I kind of pretended they were the real ones.
Isn't
so I did
legal?
the door-to-door thing too. It's a good.
It's a great lesson.
And it's interesting you say.
I'm so happy I did it.
Yeah,
so happy.
Not at the time, I think. But although actually I didn't mind at the time. But you're probably the first person in 90 odd shows who's ever come on here and said I didn't have an entrepreneur spirit. I don't think anyone else has ever said that before.
Really?
And I think actually all salespeople have an entrepreneur spirit, because sales in its very nature is only what you make of it, which is what an entrepreneur is, right? It's making something out of nothing. With sales, you've got to make something out of nothing. So you kind of, I think all salespeople have an element of that entrepreneur spirit in them. So you've got to stop saying that, because I think you did have it.
I think I did, but I didn't know until I did sales. Maybe that's a better way.
That's a better way.
Yeah.
So you sold vacuum cleaners?
I did.
Wow.
I know. I know. I didn't carry the thing around. I was just like knocking on the doors, trying to sell consumers to buy a $3,500 vacuum cleaner.
Well priced.
I mean,
$3,500.
$3,500. A commercial vacuum cleaner.
This is before Dyson.
Yeah, before Dyson. And every sale I made, I would get $700.
Oh wow, that's
commission.
huge.
Yeah.
And how'd you go?
That's when I found that I was really good. And I was, I think, 17.
Yep.
17, 18. It was my first job.
When I was doing my knives, yeah.
Yeah. And then I ended up becoming a demonstrator to the sales team.
Yep.
That were like 25 and above.
Yep.
So that's when I knew I was pretty good at selling.
How funny. And so it's interesting. Actually, now I'm asking you this question. I can't even think why I stopped. You do door-to-door sales, right? And then you stopped. I can't remember stopping. So it's really an interesting question for me to ask you. Can you remember stopping doing that and why you stopped doing that?
I stopped door knocking because obviously it wasn't really a good job, first of all, or a career. Yep. And can we be transparent? I mean, how honest can we be on this show? Can I swear? Can I tell you the truth?
You know, you can swear. We have an explicit label because the first ever episode, someone you know came on and swore straight away. So since then,
thank God,
so you can swear.
I swear a lot, and I apologize in advance.
Go for it. So I'm intrigued to know what you're going to say now.
Yeah. So to be transparent, the boss at the time that I had. Was very, he fell in love with me. Okay. And he was very...
handsy?
Obsessive? No, not handsy. No. Okay, just obsessive. And I was getting favored a lot in the company. Yep. And then I got bullied, so I had to leave.
Right.
Yes.
Awesome.
And that's the honest story.
Well, it doesn't get any more honest than that.
And then, so in call center.
So you went to call center?
Call center straight away.
Straight away.
Smashed it, killed it.
What were you doing?
Oh my gosh.
Charities, electricity, Optus, what was it?
All of it. Optus, Telstra.
The whole thing.
E-learning courses. Dr. Martini events. I was doing the whole thing.
It's funny. So many door-to-door people end up doing call center. One, it's a lot cooler because you're not in the sun.
It is.
Two, you can dress nicer because you're not wandering around. And three, you only have to go to one place. And I think the skills or the ability to take rejection that you learn face-to-face on a door, it's much easier on a phone. Rejection on a phone is nowhere near as confronting as face-to-face.
I agree. I think I got too used to it though, with the call center environment. In a sense where I couldn't really get out and sell face-to-face anymore after that because I was in it for so long. I don't know if you found that, but I found that
I didn't go into, I did do a little bit of call center, but I ended up bizarrely going into motor finance of all things. I don't even remember how. And I had to leave that because...
That's why they always call me asking if I should upgrade my car.
It was kind of like that, but I had to leave that because to be in finance, you have to keep passing exams. And the whole reason I was in sales was because I was terrible at exams. So I left finance and I ended up walking into a recruitment company who offered me a job, which is how I've ended up where I am.
So how old were you when you started in recruitment?
I would have been 22 maybe.
Wow.
Something like that.
Long time.
Maybe not, maybe younger.
And you're still in recruitment?
No, I'm a podcast host. Yes. I'm in recruitment, but I prefer doing it. This is what I love doing.
Industry.
Yeah, no, I still love recruitment. I still do love recruitment, but yeah, that was, I fell into that.
Recruitment's fun.
It is fun. Yeah. And I know you've done that too. You have a recruitment business as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're in the call center. Where next? Where did that sort of spark come from to have, you've got a business of 75 people and you've invested in lots of other businesses.
Yeah.
How does this transition happen? Because that's a massive jump.
Yeah. So I went into a company called Open Colleges, which you know them. Yeah. Everyone knows them. They're in Sydney on Elizabeth Street at the time.
Yeah, we recruited for them.
Elizabeth Street. Companies. Yeah. So before the Americans took over, I was there. There was about a team of 30 odd salespeople. Mm-hmm. I was one of them. Most of them were men. There was like a few females. Yep. Same thing. I was really, really good at it. I was the worst employee. I would show up late, leave early, call in sick.
That's the beauty of sales though.
Call in sick, and my boss didn't care.
Because you were selling.
But everyone else cared.
Well, yeah.
And they went to his office bitching about me. And I was a top performer there for I think a year and a bit, till the point women are emotional creatures. I broke down and got upset and I couldn't deal with the politics and what have you. So I decided to leave.
Fair enough.
And then I started a company called Open Education, which was an RTO sales and marketing agency arm of AIPE. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I don't know AIPE.
And I teamed with a guy that owned AIPE. Yep. We went into partnership together. I grew that to about 25 staff.
Cool.
And then I exited when I was 26.
Yep.
Because obviously the legislation had changed with the government. Had to leave.
It was a shocker.
Yeah, made lots of money, didn't know what I was doing. I was young, dumb, spent most of it.
Yeah, I did that too.
First business.
It's okay.
Zero idea, no mentors. And then I moved to Melbourne.
Gosh.
Got into recruitment, loved that. And then that's when I fell in love with tech. Right. Yeah, met with a lot of founders and I was in awe. I was like, wow, I'm playing too small.
It's funny, isn't it? Recruitment, it's not seen as a great career, but it opens your eyes, depending on what you're recruiting, to whatever it is you're recruiting. You get such an insight.
Total insight. My thought was when I met with the founder, he was talking to me how much money he had raised.
Yep.
And for me, I was like, this guy has raised millions of dollars, no revenue on a concept.
Yep.
How is this possible?
It still happens every day.
And that's when I kind of switched. I was like, I'm in the wrong space.
So then you started your current business.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't start xenabler. Sorry. Prashant, my co-founder, my business partner, he started in 2011.
Yes. Okay.
So it's been running for quite a long time. Yeah. And I got into that business 2.5 years ago as growth consultant.
Yep.
To assist with their scale. Then we decided to go into partnership.
Okay, cool.
Recently. Yeah.
And then you've invested in a number of businesses yourself, right?
I have, yes.
So I have always found investing, if I'm going to invest in anything, I invest based on a person. Now, if we look at venture capital companies and people, they've got the graphs, they've got the analytics. I don't understand any of that at all.
Me too.
And I have tried.
We're salespeople.
How do you do your investment? Yeah, is it the same way? You look at the person and you look at the business obviously and the concept and think, does that sound totally ridiculous?
You do need to vet it. You do need to vet it. I vetted a company 3 days ago. I'm not going to mention it because you probably know them. And you would know them. Yes, they're based in Sydney. And same thing, like the founder, amazing. But the structure of the cap table, terrible.
Yeah.
The people he had on the cap table just didn't make sense to me. He was a recruiter, which is great.
I know who this is.
Because it's a recruitment
exactly who this is.
But he had a co-founder that didn't come from recruitment and she was clearly busy, had a lot going on, and it didn't, I was like, how does this even work? I'm like, I'm not gonna, we wouldn't invest into something like that. I wouldn't, put money into that. So really great concept though, just a lot of work. But I think what it comes down to is the people. Yeah. Because I believe every idea is good. I genuinely...
That's because you're a salesperson.
I genuinely do. I genuinely believe every idea that a founder comes to me with is good. But it's great once executed well.
Yes.
With the right team.
Well, how many good ideas
So
never get
it's the
executed?
people. It's the people.
Yeah, it is
that
the
makes
people.
it. Yeah.
Which is what you learned through your recruitment. So 75 people in your business now.
Yeah. Mostly devs,
Mostly devs. You're going to say offshore or here?
offshore and onshore.
Yep. And explain exactly what you do, sort of exactly what your business does.
Yeah, so we basically have a bunch of geeks that do really cool stuff.
Yep.
And build projects in Web 2, Web 3.
Okay. All right.
So we recently have just bring the business from an agency model to a product model. So we're building a product called DAS, which is your product internally. Yeah. So this is kind of the goal, which is basically a subscription-based product where you get access to 3 models to developers for scaling projects. It's a flat fee model versus actually paying these hefty $100,000s to millions of dollars to develop something. So that's really exciting, and we're really excited. We've done a soft launch about a month ago, and we've already got people super interested and signed up actually on soft launch, which was crazy, which is good. I'm excited. And then we're also doing a Web3 project, really, really massive one in real estate tokenization.
Yep.
So we're just legalizing that at the moment. So we're actually starting the first week of March development of that.
Which is
It's huge. It's huge. So we own IP. We license the tokens, the IP to real estate developers all in Australia.
It's interesting that. It's really interesting.
So that's like really, really big for us.
So it's really, I find it fascinating that you're trying to productize your business, because we've been trying to do this as well. I think anyone in a service business is going, how do I productize this? Because you see you service all these product companies and you go, oh my gosh, once they get it out there, it just continues. It's this subscription model, it's this recurring revenue. And when you run a service business, as you know, you're starting from zero every month, right? And it's just exhausting, right?
It's exhausting.
I'm really interested in the fact that you're doing that, because we've been talking a lot, and we started to do that last year as well. Okay, and what is your role? Because I know my role at Nudge, for example, and Balance the Grind has changed drastically in the last year. As businesses grow and different things happen, your role changes. And I went through a period last year where I stopped doing all the day-to-day, like the real recruitment part of it that I used to do. And I felt lost for a while. I felt a little bit useless. I felt like disconnected, because my job became going out there, meeting people, doing all that kind of stuff, which I love doing. But I like doing the combination. And when I took that part away, which I'd done for 20 years, I felt like I wasn't really adding much value. Have you had anything like that happen to you?
No, I think people like you, the success comes from working on the business, not in the business.
Yeah.
You delegate
it's hard transition.
people. It is hard, especially if you love it.
And I've done it a few times now, and I always find it really hard.
I mean, doing this you're working on the business. It's
awesome.
Brand awareness, you're getting your name out there. This is totally what I love to do most. I don't generally like to work in the business too much.
Yeah. Okay. And you travel a lot, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I do. So like my role would be marketing, sales, and then Prashant is more tech, CTO, and he runs all the developers.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. And so what's the future for that business? You're building this product. You're launching it.
Yeah, pushing
Is the idea to completely shift or to run both concurrently?
So I'm so glad you asked that question actually. So I'm moving indefinitely. I think I told you this.
You have told me this. You're going to Dubai.
And I purchased the other ticket. So 15th of May, which I'm like so fucking scared because I'm going on my own.
You told me this the day we decided to open in
shaking.
Dubai.
I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Where am I going? I don't even know what I'm doing. So I purchased a ticket. I'm flying 15th of May to Dubai, then Rome, and then USA. So we want to grow in USA.
Yeah, which is a big market.
So we're gonna grow the team over there.
Where are you looking? Where's the sort
Austin?
of launch point? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Austin.
Not big, but it's supposed to be
Austin, New York, but I think Austin.
I think Austin
My vibe's Austin, not New York.
Austin's probably more open-minded to new players.
Conscious entrepreneurs, yeah.
Yeah, than New York. I think New York's a tough market.
It's tough, yeah. It's tough everywhere though.
It is. I found
and Americans love Aussies. That's why I love it.
So interestingly, I've had a lot of conversations this week. So I was, as you know, I was in Melbourne the last 2 days, and I was in Melbourne meeting a delegate group from Dubai who are looking to do more work with Australian entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And the demand for Australian entrepreneurs, particularly female ones in Dubai, the appetite is huge, which I did not know. So that's good news.
I didn't know that until recently too.
Yeah. So that's great.
Which is, that's why I'm going to Dubai.
But I think The fascinating thing about America's kind of like decentralized. It's gone from being such a city-centric country to now being, with COVID, because now everything's remote, to being a real sort of almost united workforce. They're going through massive changes, and I think a lot of opportunity is there because a lot of current American companies don't know how to handle this change that's happened.
Yeah.
So I think you could do really well there at this. Like, this is a good time to be there.
I think so. Look, it needed to be done. I've been wanting to do this for years, and I've kind of taken the plunge, and I'm going to go. And yeah.
Where are you going to live out of those 3 cities, or are you going to trance around all 3? Because
I honestly don't know. I'm just going to go with the flow. And if meetings are locked in with great people, I'll fly, So
what did you say about not having an entrepreneurial spirit? Doesn't sound like you've got one at all.
So I'm kind of just going to take a suitcase, maybe 3, maybe 5.
See how many you come back with.
Airbnb it, yeah. Yeah,
How exciting.
hotels, yeah. It's going to be exciting.
And are you going to come back here, or are you really just going to stay there? Is it one of those, I'm going to stay there till it works kind of thing?
I think look, I don't really know if the USA market, how well it's going to take our product and what will happen. If it goes fantastic, then I might extend.
Yep.
If not, I'll come back.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll miss my dog too much.
Oh, so who's looking after your dog?
My mom.
Okay.
My dog's my daughter. I can't leave her here on her own.
Can you not? I suppose.
I'll have separation anxiety.
The dog will have separation. I'm not sure. Maybe you will. I don't know.
We both will. So it's one of those things.
All right. Now, talk to me about something. So I get asked a lot, because we have offices overseas, as you know, the difference between all the countries.
Yes.
So you would have been doing some research, obviously, because you're going overseas. I think Australia's in a kind of funny place now, where the world is predicting it's going to go down, but Australians seem to be willing it not to. Are you finding that? Like, I felt there's all this negative media, but then when you talk to people, particularly in that startup ecosystem, there's a lot of positivity.
I think there's always going to be negative and positive with every country you're in. I don't watch the news just because of that, because there's just so much negativity, and I feel like it really affects my energy as a being.
It does. I think it does.
So I just try not to feed or listen. I am more like, I want to do it and then see.
Okay. Well,
so I'm just going to throw myself in the deep end and see what Americans want.
Well,
out of the product.
When you get back, we'll get you back on. You can tell us what they wanted.
I will.
But tell me, if you look through your journey, and it's been a journey.
It has.
What's been I guess not the hardest thing, because it's all hard, entrepreneurship. What's been the scariest thing, I think, for you? What do you think has probably made you just sort of really be not nervous, made your heart skip before you did it? What would you think that is?
That's a really good question.
I just made that up on the spot, so thanks.
You're a recruiter. That's what you do.
It's true.
The hardest. Again, I'll be honest. I think for me, the hardest thing has been, by the way, I'm not a feminist whatsoever.
Okay, good.
So I just want to make that so clear. I don't do the little groups and join these little girls and talk about, feminist and pay gaps and all that. It's just, that's not who I am. But I think the hardest thing for me was, and until now as well, is being a woman surrounded by men constantly. Male dominant industry. It's tech, it's a given. I think that's a really, really tough one for me. And approaching these people, it's like, do they want to do business with me, or do they want to date me?
Yeah. Does that go through your mind?
Genuinely, being very serious, this is probably the hardest thing that I still haven't nailed on the head. Still.
Interesting.
And it's a conversation that, I've been having with multiple women and men about. But then again, I love men. I think they're just amazing. My mentors are men. Most of the businesses that I'm involved in are run by men. They're incredible. But it's just trying to find that, the line. Is it blurred, or is it clear?
Yeah. It's interesting that you think.
Hardest.
It's funny that you would think that. I've never obviously thought that when I've gone into a business relationship being a man. It's always very hard. There's a lot more female entrepreneurs than there ever were.
Oh, absolutely.
Gosh, I think it's great. And I guess, do you have any tips on how you work that out? How do you
Yeah.
come to that conclusion?
I think you just need to be direct and vet it properly. And I think what I've realized now is I don't think into it too much.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I have boundaries and I know myself and I'm not going to ever do anything. So I think it's just having like the self
Yeah.
understanding of who you are and what you will do with that person or what have you. So I think it's that. And also a lot of women complain a lot. About
That's controversial stuff.
yeah, about everything, but mainly about men and the situation they're in, and they're constantly not getting taken seriously, and like it's my looks, and this is why I got this far, and like all these things. And I think cutting that out has really helped me too, because I used to be a complainer.
Yep.
I used to complain about those things, and now I'm just like, well, it is what it is. You know, use it to your advantage. So I think that's what's been a big game changer for me.
I think that's just a maturity. I think there's lots of things in life you do when you're younger and you get to a point where you go, this is really not helping me. It's completely pointless exercise. If I actually just remove it, it'll just give me more time.
Totally.
Which is the one thing we all need more.
You are what you think, right?
Apparently
so I had to stop thinking like that.
Yeah.
So, big game changer.
And what are you doing up in Sydney at the moment?
I'm here for you. I came all the way for you,
Really?
Steve. Yes. What do you mean? I'm here because of the show.
I know you've come straight from the airport because I saw your suitcase.
I came straight from the airport. I've got a suitcase over there.
I saw you walking in.
And I've got a really good girlfriend's birthday tomorrow.
Okay, cool. That's good.
You probably know her, Friska.
I don't know Friska.
Weira.
No,
Digital transformation consultant. Oh, she's really big on LinkedIn. So it's her birthday tomorrow.
Awesome. Okay. And in terms of the Australian business, is the plans to grow that here, or is it really now global expansion for
Global,
you guys?
yeah. Like I think you would know better than I do. Tech is really good to build foundation at home in Oz. But if you want to scale and get big, you need to go USA.
And are you going to look at the rest of Asia as well? Because obviously with tech, you want users. That's really what it is.
Yeah, of course.
And population is the US, to some degree the UK, but very much, I mean, the population growth in Asia is just enormous, and their uptake of tech is obviously very high.
I think it would be USA first. That's kind of what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because there's potential investors that want to invest into the product in xenabler.
Yeah.
So they would want that to happen in USA first, and then possibly other places after that. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm really excited about it.
So now, if anyone is watching this and
Yes.
thinking, I want to work with Belinda, tell me in your own words, why would someone want to come and work with you?
Work for xenabler.
Yep.
That's a really good question. I would say we're constantly growing and innovating, and I truly mean that. Like we've come, like I had somebody start like about a year ago, and she came to me and she's like, "Holy shit!" Like I was, working in agency world, almost like speaking to clients one-on-one, trying to sell this product that didn't work, and you seen that it didn't work for me, so you changed it up completely. That didn't work, and then you changed it again. I think we changed it like 5 times the offering. So I think it's constant innovation and constant growth. And I'm talking about someone specifically. I'll mention her, Keely. She started about a year ago, and when I leave, she's going to be a manager soon for the sales team, and she's super young, and she started as an SDR.
Oh, okay, all the way. Which for anyone
all the way, because our sales and marketing team is small, right? But I think there's huge growth, huge potential, huge innovation, and I will never hold an individual back if they want to do something on the side, like build a personal brand or make some money on the side, or build a side business or a side hustle. Like I'm all for that. And I'll push you, and I'll help you if you need.
I think you learn a lot of stuff doing that on the side that you bring into your job too. I agree with you. I think it's good.
You can't hold people back, and they're going to do it anyway behind your back.
Well, yeah,
right?
they probably are.
They will. They are. So just like support them along the journey,
Yep. And investments. Is there anything that because I know you like to invest.
I do. It's tech only.
But tech's massive. So is there particularly is it purpose-led? Is it female-led? Is it climate tech? Is there something that I guess people usually like to invest in things they're personally interested in. Is there an area of where you see technology changing the world that particularly interests you?
Not necessarily.
Pretty broad.
I'm pretty broad. Again, it comes down to the person.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that.
Like, I mean, if if I see somebody that has exited before multiple times or has a track record and they've built something that I'm probably not that into, I already know it's going to be a success and I want to be on that journey.
Yeah.
So I'll invest.
Yeah.
Versus having something that I love and not so sure about the founder.
Yeah. That's been my mistake.
So, yeah. Yeah, I don't have any particular interest.
Awesome. Well, look, thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming all the way to Sydney for this show and your friend's birthday. We'll just leave it
you.
and this show, of course. So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We will definitely get you back when you return from your travels, from your
Yes.
pioneering trip across the world.
We need to do this.
To find out what you've
Or
learned.
you come to USA.
Well,
Do this in USA.
we looked at the US so big. Dubai is our thing this year. Dubai is our focus this year.
I went to Dubai first
Yeah.
and then USA. Yeah.
I mean, I'm fascinated by what's going on in Dubai. It's someone told me the other day, actually, I need you to find out if this is true because I can't believe it's true. But I was told last week that they do not make all their money out of oil. Obviously, yes, they make a lot of money out of oil in the Middle East, but their biggest export is tourism. I just can't believe they're making more money out of tourism than they are out of oil. That doesn't seem right. I think someone made that up.
I actually didn't know that.
Well, someone told me. I don't believe it. I haven't had a chance to look it up.
But
so
you know
can
what? You
ask.
know what? When you go to Dubai and you go to like the shopping mall, there's only like a few locals.
Yeah.
Like
See, I think it's rubbish.
5 locals and the rest are tourists. So maybe.
Well, let me know.
It's a tourism city. Like it's a tourist city, sorry. So
Yeah, I suppose so. All right. Well, anyway, regardless, come back and tell us. But thank you for coming so much.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy the birthday and enjoy
will.
the trip. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I will. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thanks for watching, guys. I'm really glad we have Belinda on. It's a slightly different episode than normal, and we're trying to do more and more of those as we talked about. But come back next week and please click subscribe.